Pixio is a fairly popular budget-friendly gaming monitor brand. You find them a lot on Amazon and whatnot, and they sent me the PX277 Pro, which is a monitor that's probably 3 or 4 years old now. It's right here. It's this thing. And on YouTube, if it's not brand new, it may as well be ancient in internet time. So why would Pixio send me this monitor, and why would I agree to review it? Well, that's because it's a monitor that, for the price, still holds up. And with firmware updates and price drops since the monitor has released, it's a monitor that's still pretty viable for your gaming use. Or is it? Well, just watch the review because that's what we're here to talk about. So let's get into the video. Here's some janky footage of me trying to unbox this huge box in this tiny room. Bear with me. It's not glamorous, but here it is. It's not a lay down. I thought it was a lay. You lay and open it like a clamshell, but it's not one of those. So it's a 27-inch 1440p 165Hz IPS display monitor, and it's priced at $299.99. It released at $380, so that new price of $300 is going to make it much more competitive when it comes to choosing from other 1440p gaming monitors. Inside the box, you're going to get the monitor, a stand, a power cable, a USB-A to USB Type-B cable for USB hub connection, and a DisplayPort cable. No HDMI cable included. Part of the reason it may not include an HDMI cable is because if you want to get the 165Hz, you're going to want to use the DisplayPort. The HDMI port is only HDMI 2.0, which is only capable of a max of 144Hz. It also comes with this big instruction card. Pause to read it. So you've got one DisplayPort, one HDMI 2.0 port, a USB Type-C port, which you can use to connect to and charge a laptop with 65 watts of charging. So if you're using a gaming laptop, it's not going to charge your gaming laptop while you're gaming. You're still going to need the laptop's charger that it came with. It also has USB hub functionality, so it's got that USB Type-B port to plug into the monitor, and you plug the other end into your computer, and you can use those two USB 3.0 slots for whatever you want to plug into. And it actually has a KVM, so if you plug in a keyboard and mouse into those two slots, you can actually use the same keyboard and mouse for two different devices. One via the USB Type-B to USB-A, and the other via the USB Type-C port. So this is great if you're using, for example, a MacBook and a PC and you want to alternate between the two with the same keyboard and mouse. You can do that with this monitor, and that's actually pretty awesome. There's also this white USB port next to the display ports and whatnot, and that's just for firmware updates. You can't use that for your computer. I did mention earlier that you're limited to 144Hz on HDMI because it's HDMI 2.0, but luckily if you have a laptop with USB-C display port, you can use that and you can get 165Hz with that as well. Speaking of that USB-C port, another device this is going to be great with is the Steam Deck. It has a USB-C port along the top, and you can just plug that directly into this and it works seamlessly, displaying your Steam Deck on the screen, so you can dock this thing, charge it as well, and play while you're gaming on a bigger screen. It's actually really handy and really nice. I don't really dock my Steam Deck often, but the fact that it's so simple to do with this, I mean, it's awesome. It actually encouraged me to dock this thing and test it out more. That's another way where the KVM switch is really handy, because if you have a mouse and keyboard plugged into those ports, plug in your Steam Deck, and you'll be able to use a mouse and keyboard on the Steam Deck and more easily navigate and whatnot if you're doing any tinkering in the desktop mode or anything like that. It has two built-in speakers, but you're going to want to either plug in some headphones or some computer speakers into the 3.5mm jack if you're planning to use your monitor as your audio output, because they're like 2-watt speakers and they're not very good. So if anything, grab yourself a $20 pair of computer speakers, and those are going to sound better than the monitor's own built-in speakers. The UI is completely controlled by a control stick on the back. You can also hold it down to turn the monitor off, and when it's off, you press that to turn it back on. There's also an RGB light along the back toward the side. This blue light that you're seeing behind me is not from that, it's from something else that I have back there. The light on the monitor is not going to light up your wall, so if you're looking to get a monitor that will light up your wall a little bit, it's very dim, and that's not going to happen here. But with the RGB built in, you're obviously going to get a slightly higher frame rate, and you're going to play a little bit better at every game that you play. That's a joke. Don't believe that, it's a joke. It's got a contrast ratio of 1 to 1000. In some tests that I've seen online, it's actually a bit better than that, so apparently pretty good contrast ratio. I'm no pro when it comes to monitors and whatnot, To me, I think it looks good. The color accuracy is not the most accurate, but I would say that it's pretty serviceable. It's got 131% sRGB, 96.6% DCI-P3, 92.8% NTSC, and 97.1% Adobe RGB. It's gonna look great for stuff like content consumption and gaming and whatnot, watching movies, even content creation and video editing in that regard. Unless you're doing like hardcore color grading, then maybe you want to look elsewhere. But for somebody like myself who just throws videos together without doing much color grading, it's gonna be totally fine. In fact, I probably edited this video on this monitor. Yep. Now, I don't normally like to watch reviews on something that I'm going to be reviewing, simply to kind of keep my bias out of it, but I wanted to make sure that I got some good information for you guys because, again, I'm no pro when it comes to this stuff, so I did watch a few reviews and read a little bit about this monitor, considering especially that it's a few years old. Reviews closer to the original release said that the color calibration out of the box was not great, but from what I can tell out of the box now, it's at least pretty good. I kind of looked at it side by side with the screen on my Lenovo Legion 5 Slim laptop and with my smartphone, and it was pretty close, especially with the smartphone. It wasn't like exact, but it was close enough. If you're just looking for a monitor you can game on, you can take out of the box, it's totally serviceable, and you can just mess with the controls and the colors and whatnot yourself. The built-in OSD has everything you need in there to adjust the colors to your liking, so if you want to do that, you got plenty of options for customizing that. Now, one issue I've been having with this monitor is when trying to switch between devices. Say I've got multiple devices connected, which I normally do, and I try to switch between them, it gets a little finicky. My laptop is connected to the USB-C port and my work computer is connected to the DisplayPort. Every morning when I turn on my work computer, it just does not display on the monitor. There is a way to manually select your input by tilting the control stick on the back upward for about 5 seconds. This works just fine when selecting USB-C, but something about my work computer does not want to switch no matter what I do. I've never had that issue on any other monitors I've been reviewing, but something about my work computer just does not like this monitor. Even when switching to my PS5, it works fine. There's no problems. It's just my work computer is just upset. So if you have any problems with yourself using DisplayPort with this thing, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious if it's just me or what. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The monitor does come with a few overdrive modes for lower response times. However, I wouldn't recommend using anything other than low. On middle, there was some noticeable ghosting when testing it, and on high, it was around the same as middle, maybe slightly worse to my eyes. In-game, however, I can't really say I noticed much of a difference. A test made for testing ghosting shows it for sure, but in-game, your mileage may vary. Your best bet is to just use low or balanced and leave it at that. Play around with it a little bit and see what you like the most. It does have a pretty nice adjustable stand letting you tilt up, down, swivel side to side, or adjust the height. And you can even rotate to use it vertically if you want to. It also has one of those cable management hidey holes built into the stand. Isn't that neat? My main gripe is that the legs are obnoxiously long, like more so than the legs that come with my BenQ monitors that I've reviewed in the past, but they are also thinner legs. So at least there's that. Those other legs on the BenQ monitors are shorter, but they're chunkier and they take up more space somehow. This does advertise HDR compatibility, but as with most gaming monitors, it's not true HDR. It just doesn't have the hardware built in for true HDR like a multi-$1,000 TV would. It has a brightness of over 400 nits, so it does get nice and bright, and if you're looking to use HDR on this or basically any monitor in this price range, just don't do it. As for console use, this looks great on PS5. It's able to get 1440p 120Hz on any games that are compatible, which isn't many. It's compatible with variable refresh rate on Xbox Series consoles, but not on PS5. The PS5 requires HDMI 2.1 for variable refresh rate. The Xbox requires HDMI 2.0 and up. If you're looking at this mostly for a PS5 and you want to get the most out of your PS5, this is not the monitor to get. And that's gonna do it for this review, ladies and gentlemen. That is the PX277 Pro, a 3 or 4 year old monitor that to this day still kind of holds up. Sure, we're in the age of the OLED monitor and whatnot, but I mean, you're gonna pay at least double this, if not more, to get an OLED monitor that's equivalent to the specs that this has as far as the refresh rate and the resolution. If you're a little bit more in the budget range and you want something along those specs, then this is probably something that's gonna be at least a little bit more tempting with that $300 price point. So what do you guys think? Do you have any experience with Pixio monitors or this monitor in particular? Are you looking for monitors within this price range, and does this one appeal to you? Let me know in the comments, I'm really curious. And thank you again to Pixio for sending this out for review. I will have links in the description, maybe affiliate links to Amazon. I'm not entirely sure which links I'm gonna have there just yet, but there will be links for you guys to check out, and I would appreciate it if you did. And I would also appreciate if you liked this video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe if you're new because I've got plenty more content coming around. No other monitor reviews planned anytime soon, but I've got plenty of other stuff, including reviews of handheld, gaming devices, keyboards, and so on. So thanks again for watching. I'm out of here. Here's some other videos for you guys to check out if you would be so kind. Alright, I'm out of here.